Hey, welcome back to Freedom Algo, everybody. Sorry that I'm a couple minutes late here, or I guess more than a couple minutes. Sorry about that. All right. Hope everybody's having a good Monday. Getting towards the end of August here. All right, let me pull up a few things. If you're in the chat, welcome. Welcome. Hope you had an amazing weekend. I'm going to pull up a couple of things today. Give me 1 second here. Where is... Get some music going here. All right. Let me zoom out real quick. Make sure that everybody's here. I don't see anything yet on the OBS. Making sure. Hey, Jackie. Good to see you. Good to see you, Daryl. Good to see everybody. All right. Okay, so hey, this is just a message for, let me see. Okay. All right. Sorry, I was just dealing with something real quick, and I was just messaging somebody real quick. All right, so I don't know why my metrics are going slow today. Okay, there they go. All right, everybody. So it's a pretty slow day. I mean, if you look here and you just measure, like, I don't think we're going to even need to stream for that long today, because if you look here, not a lot of bars overall. Pretty slow day. So I figure I'll go through the trades and then we'll see what happens. But we might not need to stream for as long today just because of what kind of price action we're seeing. It's really slow. So there's a couple of different ways to look at this right here. So I'm going to get to that in a minute. But basically this morning when we came in, there was this big double 2 legs down in the overnight. And you can kind of see there's like a downtrend, close outside, and then this one makes a new low, and it's kind of a trend on its own that gets a close outside and new low. So the downtrends had played out. I drew this range as a possibility from the high to the low. There was a failure this morning. It's just a little trap setup. So this is one of those ones where you would enter it 1 tick above this bar if you're going to enter it. Basically, it's a little up channel, and you already made a new low, and you get a first entry short, second entry short that fails above the EMA with a tiny bar, 4 ticks. So it's like one of those ones where you put your order there. As this one goes, you put your stop down here, and it's just a little trap. That's all it is. It's just a failed second entry. It's a little risky, but it's a little trap there. Then it comes down, and you actually get a first entry, second entry long. And it's basically, it's kind of like a triple test. I wouldn't treat this exactly as one, but that makes it a little bit stronger. You get a test there, there, and there. It's above the lows. It's kind of like another higher low. So it's like a first entry, second entry long. So I think that one is pretty reasonable. You're expecting a new high on this little up channel, and you do get it. Then it kind of turned into this little like flat channel. There is a failure here. There's a new low here. There's a first entry, second entry short failure, but it's just really sideways in there. So I just think it's dangerous to take it, even though it looks pretty decent. And then it makes this new high, and then there's just really no trades in here for a while. It's really just sideways. There's just not much going on. You weren't really between any key levels. You get this close outside. It doesn't make a new high, and it just kind of grinds sideways, and there's just like all this congestion, so you kind of just have to wait. Finally, you can draw this line off of this low here. So when we tested this a few times here and then again here, when we came back and closed above this level, or at the level, and then we had this little one here, I think you could take this as a triple test
of those levels and sort of a trap. So basically it's a first entry, second entry long that fails. So the people who went long on the bearish signal bar, they get stopped out. Then the people who went short here trying to take the breakout, they get stopped out. And so it traps the traders in both directions and then it runs higher. So I think that's a reasonable one. I was considering marking this one as a green, like a good long. The reason I didn't is just, I don't know, it's the signal bar is, it meets the criteria. It's just that it's not ideal. The way that you get that stem on the top, I just think it's not ideal. So I just left it like that. All right, so then we come up here and you get a, you kind of get like a first entry, second entry short failure, but you're not looking for a failure right here. This is just back in that chop. I was trying to draw some different lines across here to see, you know, there was like this kind of level there. Nothing really that great in there. And then, yeah, it just wasn't the most ideal. Yep. All right, let me see here. So then we come up here. We kind of form this up channel. Now, this up channel is interesting because you have the tight channel close outside and it makes a new high, but it keeps going higher. So at this point, I think you have to consider that there's some sort of other channel. Now, you could draw it like this and see a close outside, but then it kept on making new highs. Now, it finally does break down here. So I started to widen this just a little bit, and I was thinking, okay, that looks reasonable, and then you get this close outside new high. But the thing is, like, you can see what's happening now. Right before the stream started, I was looking at this, and I was thinking, you know, I think that this is actually a slightly wider channel, and this is the real close outside up here. And yes, it does kind of close outside. You could argue that it's inside like that. Doesn't really matter, I don't think, here. But the point is, it looks like it's trying to close outside, and then there is a second entry long here. Signal bar doesn't really qualify. It's an 8-tick bar, and it finishes... Yeah, this is one of those ones where, let me see, high... The high is... It's one of those weird ones because it's an 8-tick bar, so it closes on the cusp of its 1/3, which makes it a little bit risky. So it's one of those ones where it's like ambiguous of whether or not the signal bar can qualify. So you can maybe mark it, but it's a little bit dicey. The thing that is working for this as a positive is that it's this level coming back to test this level. And you are expecting this new high, so that is a pretty reasonable setup right there. But yeah, unfortunately, that's the way that that one plays out. It just, you know, you don't get a good signal bar. If anyone's wondering about these numbers that are underneath, this is just the size of the bar in terms of ticks. That's all that is, and then it's part of this new tool that I'm building. All right. And you can see the tool that I'm building is up here. You can see the different periods for the ATR. You can see the take profit target recommendation based on the ATR for the scalps. And then you can see here, basically, these where it says 8, that means that this bar was 8 ticks, but it's yellow because it didn't close in the upper 1/3. It closed in the middle 1/3. If it's green, it means it closed in the upper 1/3. If it's a red number, it closed in the lower 1/3. So it's just a way to identify the signal bars as they're printing. Now we do actually have a first entry, possible second entry short forming here. What's the high? 64.8025. Yeah, it hasn't made a new high though, so I'd be a little bit concerned about taking any sort of short there. Especially after we just bounced off this level. We're probably going to try to go and fill this Friday close over here. So we'll see what happens. All right, everybody. If you have questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. Let me know what's going on if you have questions. If you haven't done so, please like the stream. And let's see if anybody has any questions. Right now, I would say pretty boring day. Pretty boring day. There are setups, of course, but it's a boring day. That's just what it is.
second entry is about to trigger. Let's see if it does. Oh, there it does. So let's see if it turns into some sort of like a little failure and tries to make the new high. We'll find out. But it's a little risky to take a trade in here. You can draw this line across these closes here. That seems to be where we're finding a little bit of stickiness. But we are looking for the new high to be made, which it missed it by a tick there to make an equal high. So we'll see what we get. Molly, no, I don't typically. Nope, I typically just leave it at, I don't like to change things on my setup, so I just leave it as is. So I just keep it on 2000, and that's the way that I do it. I don't really like to change anything or mess with anything. I don't really find it to be the most useful. Basically, if it's slow like this, then I see that as like, that's part of the price action. So on the 2000 tick, it just tells me that I need to be careful about entries. There's probably going to be less trades, that sort of thing. Like, I don't want to change my tick size to try to give me more trades on a day that's slow. I just want to accept the fact that the price action is slow and that there will be less setups. I think that that's a wiser way to do it. In the past, I used to do what you're saying, like a long time ago, where I would change it because I'm like, oh, I want to have more setups. But that's just me being overdoing it, trying to force more trade setups, and it's not a good idea overall. So that's the way I see it. When you got to resist the urge to change your chart to try to force there to be more setups. Just take what the market is giving. That's the way that I do it. Little Hammer, good to see you. Doing well over here, doing well. Looking forward to taking a vacation next week. This week I'll be streaming each day throughout the week, but then next week I'm just going to take off the whole week. So I will not be trading next week or streaming or anything. I'll still be responding to people in the paid school community if anybody has questions or whatnot, but I'm just going to not bring... I'm not even going to be like using my laptop or anything. I'll just be checking on my phone and responding to people. But the reality is I'm just going to take the time off because we have Labor Day next week anyway. So Labor Day is coming up, so the market will probably be closed. I don't know if they're doing one of those silly half-day things, but I would just not trade Labor Day, of course, because it's going to be super slow anyway, even if they let it be open for a little while. And then the other days, I'm just going to take off. So next week I will be out, but then I'll be back to streaming the week after. So what I'll do is on Friday, I'll schedule the next stream most likely. I'm still not positive on how I'm going to do it for, let's see, what day is that? So this week, let me look. September 8th, I'll be back. Why does it say that? All right, September 8th, I'll be back. The only thing is I gotta see. I'll probably stream that day, but I might just approach the trading a little slow because I'm going to be getting back in the evening. It all depends on how late things are. So I won't know yet because I get back on like that late Sunday night, September 7th. So anyway. All right. Yeah, exactly. Patience is the move. Patience is the move. Sorry, I had to check something on my other screen. What is this? All right, my bad. All right, so it looks like we're trying to come up to that high. Let's see. Let's see. What the heck? All right. There it is. So there's the new high. And there you go. And that's what I was saying. You don't want to take that second entry short there. I already said that. Because we're trying to get that new high, and there it is. It's probably an equal high. 64.80.25. 64.80.25. So it is. It's an equal high. Zoom out real quick. So obviously there's a little bit of a bullish bias in play today. We kept making this is the lowest that we got in these swings here. You can see we kind of were making higher highs, higher lows. Then over here we did try to go lower, but we failed. And we're now going higher again. So there's still a bullish bias in place. I don't think that there's any sort of like wider pattern type of thing to draw. It doesn't really look like that to me. It just looks like little short-term stuff. So we just got to let it cruise. And, you know, it's just one of those days. It's a little slower than normal. A little slower. But let's see. Does anybody have any questions? Because I'm probably not going to stream very long today just because, like, it's kind of a snooze fest. I mean, that's just what we got. Remember, everybody, this is the last week of August, and it's like sort of back to school time, and we have Labor Day coming up. This is like the last of a lot of people's vacations, time off. The market will likely be slow this week. I mean, it could change, of course, but, you know, we're kind of getting towards the tail end of the summer slowness that typically happens. Back to school is about to happen. My guess is that after Labor Day, we'll see a little bit of volume come in first week of September, and then following that week we should be getting a lot more volume. The tick charts will be printing faster. I mean, that's just typically how it goes. And you can even see right now, if you look at the ATR, the 21 period ATR is below a 2. Like we're getting to the point where it is so slow, it's like barely moving. So it's risky to start. It's honestly, in my experience, it becomes relatively risky to trade the market on the ES when it starts to drop below a 2 ATR. It starts to become somewhat risky because it's just like barely moving, right? Like you can do it, but I don't like to go lower than 4 ticks on a scalp. So it starts to be risky, and you can see my take profit calculation is getting below a 4. That means that the market's just getting risky to trade. So I just would say, like, you want to be careful. You probably want to like stay out when it starts to get that slow. I mean, the setups were here. There were a few setups today, but it's just slow going. And so sometimes you're best off to just shut it down early when that starts to happen. Get your trades early, be done, and just call it. There might be some more volume and volatility that comes in a little later today in the afternoon, but I wouldn't expect too much. Let me just see something here. I'm going to take a look and see if there's any big news releases this week or any data releases or whatever. Looks like tomorrow there's a consumer confidence release. There's some 5:30 a.m., an hour before the open releases. There's some GDP stuff and jobless claims on Thursday. And then there's some other stuff on Friday. So there's a little bit of stuff, but nothing that crazy. Most of it is pre-market data releases, it looks like. Friday has the University of Michigan stuff, and that can sometimes move the market a little bit. But it's just slow going right now. I think we just got to be patient. Take it for what it is and just enjoy the slowness. Molly, to place a sell stop on the chart, you right click and select. No, if I'm going to place let's say I'm going to go short, stop market. I enter on a market order, stop market. So I would enter my trade down here like that. And then I would move it to where it's going to go. That's how I would do that.
Order canceled.
No, it's not a big deal. Like that's because the problem is if you enter a limit, what that does is it enters. So if I enter a stop limit, so if I put that down here, actually I don't have that one configured. I never use it. But what that would do is it would make it so that when the order gets hit, it like triggers it as a limit. It enters a limit order. So when the price gets touched, it puts a limit order there. We're not looking to do that. We're looking to enter on a stop market order. So as soon as it gets touched, it just immediately enters us into the trade. Now, usually you'll get filled right at the level. Sometimes you get filled like maybe one tick worse or something. Sometimes. On a lower volume day, sometimes you will get filled slightly worse. That will happen from time to time. But it'll help you get into the trade so you don't miss it. Mainly trades. I think that's a personal preference thing. I think if you're hyper-focused, if you are hyper-focused on your P&L, you'll probably psych yourself out and cause problems. That's been my experience overall. I think it's different for different people. But yeah, like basically, I always say that one of the important things, like you asked about like if you should block out your P&L till the end of the day or the end of the week when you're taking the setups. I think that really what you want to do is you want to look at how can you stay the most present in the current moment so you're focused on the current trade. Because the problem is, like, let's say you take your first trade of the day and you have a loss and you start off in the red. If you're now focused on like how much you need to make to get it back and you're doing weird calculations and all that, you're not locked into the present moment. You're now going to be taking your next trade based on what happened on your last trade. And it's going to cause you to probably mess with your position, mess with your stop loss, mess with your take profit, maybe like psych yourself out. But what you really need to do is take each trade the way you're supposed to take it, as if nothing else has happened. That's the best way to go in my experience. Like if you start changing your take profits because you had a loss earlier or adjusting things, now you're not locked in to the strategy the way that it's meant to be traded. That's the way I see it. So you want to do everything that you can to make sure that you're staying locked into the present moment and the present trade that you're looking at. So for example, like if I'm going to take a trade, I know that my take profit needs to be like 4 ticks here because of how low the ATR is, and I'm not going to like mess with that. But let's say I had a loss earlier. I might be tempted to go, okay, I'm going to go for a bigger target to try to make it back. Well, that's not a good idea based on the current situation. So that's kind of the way that I mean that. Or I might enter a trade, and as soon as I see some green, I might close it because I want to get some money back. That's also not a good way to play it. So that's the main thing to focus on and think about. Hopefully that made sense. Let me know if that made sense or whatnot. Does anybody else have any questions? Hey, good to see you, Salmon. Good to see you. All right, well, I think we just wrap up early, everybody, because there's not a lot happening. Hey, thanks, Owen. I appreciate you. Yeah, I think we just wrap up early, everybody. I mean, if you're here, hit that like. Definitely subscribe, but I'm going to wrap up the stream early today because it's slow going. There's not a lot happening. There's literally 4 trades that I went over. That was all we had so far. Super slow. ATR is low. There's just not a lot happening here. So, I think we're all good. I think we just wrap up. hopefully tomorrow we'll get a little bit more price action. And so I'm going to stop the stream here, and I'll schedule the next one for tomorrow, and we'll just go from there. But thanks everybody for dropping by. I know it's a short one today, but that's just what it is. Yeah, oh yeah, so I do. I stream every weekday, Monday through Friday. I will be on vacation next week, but I'll be streaming each weekday this week. And I only trade the ES on the 2000 tick chart. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the day.